Reverberate.
Almost 100 years later, the U.S. House Foreign Affairs
Committees.
level votes on how to acknowledge post-massacre genocide to undermine relation with the Republic of Turkey. Critical
Strategic.
U.S. partner in Iraq,
Afghanistan.
Central Asia, the Caucasus,
Okay, first of all, what do you mean by rift? R-I-F-T. This is one word you will find in a lot of headline. Rift. A gap or some kind of separation or internal fight. Internal rift means competition or internal struggle. We call rift. Okay, so a Turkish rift means Congress in genocide, and then you are causing problem between United States and Turkey. Okay, now mass killing, right, by Ottoman Empire. Maybe this is not big enough, huh? Ms. Wang, Ottoman Empire. In history, do you know there is another Turkish empire as well?塞尔，什么中文叫什么？塞尔柱啊？什么柱？Okay. Celsus. I think this is that one is from the 11th century to about 14th century, right? That was the one which sieged the Constantinople. Where is that Constantinople? Here. Today, what do we call Constantinople? Ms. Wang? Istanbul. And Constantinople ending what empire? Do you remember? Which empire was ended by the Turkish in the 15th century? 1453. People said that's also the end of the medieval time. Byzantine Empire. Or some people call it East Roman Empire. Okay, so you know. And then we have Ottoman Empire starting from the 17th century, 16th, 17th century. So very powerful. But here you have, by the 20th century, almost at the end, by World War I. So you have one of the darkest moment of the 20th century is the killing of Armenian. What do you mean by reverberate? Still being heard, echo. People are still concerned. It's like in Taiwan, I think we can still heard about the 228 incident, right? But I don't think we call it 228 genocide. We don't use that word. Do we use massacre? 228大屠杀? I don't think we use that. What do we use that word? 228 incident. Okay, so we use that word incident. So mild, huh? Incident. Like Tiananmen incident. Foreigner called it Tiananmen massacre. So those are the difference. And later we also have the, U.S. House Foreign Affairs Committee. Okay, America has a lot of committees. Committees almost equal to responding to one area. So they have Judicial Committee, they have Agriculture Committee, 委员会. So the Foreign Affairs Committee voted by just one vote, right? One more vote to pass this. Acknowledge. What do you mean by acknowledge? Ms. Wang, what do you mean by acknowledge? I have the knowledge. Acknowledge. Almost like recognize by saying, okay? In Chinese word, we call 认知, saying, yeah, I noticed that something happened. Okay? And remember, this is a very important word for Taiwan. Why? Because when United States recognized China, they acknowledge Taiwan as part of China. They didn't recognize Taiwan as part of China. So we love that word acknowledge in Taiwan. So 美国只是认知到中国说台湾是中国的一部分，他没有承认。Okay, very important word. So the difference there. Okay, but in the Chinese version, it's 承认. Okay, the English version is acknowledge. Okay, so remember that one. Very important difference. Massacre and genocide. Undermine. What do you mean by undermine? 在我的底下以内的 undermine. Miss Wang, undermine. 属于我的 undermine. As a verb, what does that mean? "破坏, yeah, 破坏, okay. Relation with the Republic of Turkey. Look at Turkey is so important. Where is my country here? Turkey, right? Major partner of the United States. Says where? What are some of the area? It says critical in Afghanistan. Ooh, where is my Afghanistan? Here. Okay. And then in Central Asia here. Okay, I can put it here. And then where else? Caucasus, that's here. And then the Balkan, Iraq is here, right? And then the Balkan is here. And the Middle East. Okay, so that's all the Turkey is just, I think we can just say Turkey is so lucky to be in such a good geographical location. That's it. Okay, and damn it, it knows how to use it. Okay, like Taiwan, we have a good geographical location. I don't think we know how to use it. Okay, Turkey know how to use it. So important. America sending forces to Iraq. There's an air base here. America has to deal also with Iran, with Afghanistan, Balkans, because Turkey, Ottoman Empire used to have this area. And now America also in Georgia trying to stir up the Georgia against Russia. And Turkey is there. Middle East, Turkey and Syria, also very important relation. So, important country here, Turkey. Next one, Chen Tingyu. Okay. Complicate. No, scrutiny. Okay, what do we mean by non-binding? This is important. Non-binding, binding, non-binding. Binding, 绑起来 non-binding, 释放不绑 What does that mean? Non-binding. For example, your professor here in this class say, hey, I would like to see you try not to eat in the class. But it's not going to enforce on this one. So it's a non-binding kind of plea. Non-binding, 不具约束力, right? Binding means 约束力, okay? So non-binding, binding. Important word. But even it is non-binding, means they said, hey, this is genocide. So what? You caught it. That's it. You're not going to say, we are going to ask Turkey to acknowledge this is a genocide. No, they're not going to do that. So non-binding. Turkey doesn't have to do anything. It's almost like, do you remember who was our president in 1995 in Taiwan? When you were still, in diapers? Who was our president in 1995? Yeah, please wait for a while. 你等会. Okay, no, he was the president and he was invited to where? Do you know his alma mater, his university? He got his PhD? Cornell University, right? He was allowed to go to Cornell University, and America Congress also passed a resolution, but non-binding, which means the American government doesn't have to say, oh, we have to allow President Lee to visit his alma mater. But the president said, ooh, look, Congress really want him to come. Maybe we should let him come. Okay, so that's what we call, even though it is non-binding, but depending on the votes. Like this one is bad. This one is what, 22 to 21? That's not a very strong message. But if it's like 43 to 0, maybe the American government will say, Turkey, stand up, face the reality. But, this is just, first, a committee vote and non-binding. Remember, this non-binding means you are not going to enforce it. Okay, just a resolution. American Congress make resolution all the time. They will say, yeah, we are condemning today what happened. Most important thing for America. Not just healthcare. With China, what is the most important thing with China today? Google. Close. Ooh. Okay, America can condemn the Chinese, suppression of freedom of press or freedom of speech, right? But that's just asking China not to impede on this freedom of speech. But that will be a non-binding resolution. You're not going to ask China to change that, but you can make that declaration. So non-binding, very important idea. Entire House. What do you mean by entire House? So right now in the Foreign Affairs Committee, Ms. Chen, we have 22 to 21. But in the House, how many members do we have in the United States? 美国众议院. Oh, they just voted about the health insurance. So make a guess about what number. Give me a ballpark figure. 大约3000人. That would be China's National People's Congress. How many congressmen in the United States? In the House? 435. Okay. But when they voted this time, they only have 431. So the vote is 219 to 212. So 435. So if they have the entire House, if it goes there and pass the 4 out, what do you mean by 4 out? Means the implication, okay, the result for Turkey and United States will be very significant. So it will complicate normalization. What do you mean by normalization? Ms. Chen, normalization. 正常化. Okay, that's also the word. in 1970s, when I was a high school student, we hate to hear that word because at the time, United States always talk about normalization of its relation with China, which means cut off relation with Taiwan. In Taiwan, what do we call that word? We call 美匪关系正常化。美匪，美丽 beautiful bandit。美匪关系。Okay, so normalization means United States was supposed to have a relation with China, but they never did, right? So normalization, 正常化. The same thing with Turkey and Armenia. They didn't have diplomatic relations for many years, so restoring a normal relation, we call normalization. Okay, and another word here, setback. What do you mean by setback? Like Wang Jianming, he just throws some pitches out of the mound and pop. Setback in his rehabilitation. 他的什么复健又倒退了。本来说什么6月是吧？要登板。5月，我看要8月了。No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm kidding. Okay, so setback means 又叫什么？挫折了。Okay, something like so. Make it Turkey on scrutiny. What do you mean by scrutiny, Ms. Chen? Hey, this is what China is doing right now with Google, right? So if you are in China, you go on Google, you say 天安门 nothing. 天安门个古迹 Okay, that's it. There is no 天安门 massacre. No, 天安门 incident. No, you couldn't find it. 没有天安门事件，也没有天安门大屠杀。That's impossible, right? What do you mean by scrutiny? 监督检验 Okay, so here, Turkey itself is looking into 1915. And many scholars, Turkish scholars said it is a genocide. So they are doing that themselves. Why does the United States have to worry, saying, probably you don't know you have committed genocide. Let me remind you, you did it. Okay, so stupid, huh? But that's America, remember? Okay. Okay, next one, Ms. Huang Yixian. Yeah, Ms. Huang. Okay, next one. Bilateral. Insurlic. Logistics hub for Okay, here, they passed similar resolution before, recognizing this is a genocide in 2005 and 2007, but also just the committee, right? And by much larger margin. So this time it's 22 to 21. Much larger margin will be what? maybe more than 1 vote. Okay, let's say 7 vote, 8 vote, who knows, right? So that's large margin of support. But only to be stalled. What do you mean by stall? Basketball game, people are stalling, like, just dribbling, stall, 拖延. Okay, or you just dead there, like a car. Your car is stalled in the middle of the way, of the road. That means just breaking down. Okay, stall means going nowhere. Okay, so it's being stalled. And finally, withdraw over concern about the bilateral. Bilateral is a very important word because Bush was being criticized for unilateral. 单边主义, okay? So people said you should not make anything unilateral. You need to consider bilateral or multilateral, 多边的. So here bilateral means in between Turkey and United States, bilateral ties. So both times signal. Okay, Turkey said, hey, if you pass that resolution, we're going to do something like, signal the passage will lead to deterioration of bilateral relations. Recall. Okay, what do you mean by recall? In election, what do we have? Recall. We have election, we have recall, we have initiative, we also have referendum. Do you remember this? 选举罢免创制复决这东西听过吧 Okay, now that's what we call recall. Call someone back means 罢免 But in diplomatic term, call someone back is what? Calling back your ambassador. 召回 Okay, now recall also has another word people use is do you recall that you were in certain places on that night? Remember of the murder? Okay, usually in a, questioning by the prosecutor, they like to use the word, do you recall, what happened that night? When I was a translator in court in the United States, because it was a homicide, criminal case involving Chinese killing Chinese. So they called the witnesses who are also Chinese. And the attorney or the prosecutor keep using the word recall. And nobody understand. So I have to say, you don't use that word. You use remember. Do you remember? But in legal, in the court, they always use recall. Call back that memory. Do you recall? Recall that. So that's our recall. So here, they also said, this time lawmakers should expect Turkey to reconsider the use of the Air Force base, which sometimes the third world countries say, well, we don't want American Air Force base because that's so colonial, so imperial. Why are they using our bases? But also other countries would like to see the U.S. having bases. Why? Why would other countries want to see U.S. Establishing a base? Like in Taiwan, do we want our Keelung Harbor to be the U.S. naval base? No? Yes? No? No is because maybe it will create problem between us and China? No. We welcome American to help us saying, hey, we have someone against China, right? But what would be a no? The American sailors will come up on the shore and spend money. That's good for our economy, don't you think? So why? Why not having American naval base in Taiwan? I know right now it's impossible, but what happened if China said, fine? We still don't want it because it's a symbol of what? Of colonialism in a way. Like Philippines used to have Clark Air Force Base and Subic Bay Naval Base. They forced the American out and they tried to convert it into a processing zone. 加工出口区 not very successful. I think the Filipinos are missing the Americans now. But this is something, it's a symbol of someone using your facility or your land to do that. Important logistic. What do you mean by logistics? They said a wedding planner like Jennifer Lopez. Have you seen that movie? The Wedding Planner? 中文叫什么？电影？婚礼筹备人是这个样子吗？这电影是叫这个名字吗？啊？不是有你们看过这电影吗 ？Jennifer Lopez 麻雀变不是啦 ，That's a Pretty Woman, I think. 麻雀变新娘，不是 something with 新娘 I know. I mean, I'm confused with all the 新娘. There's so many 新娘。不是 But you know that wedding planner. So someone said, if you are a wedding planner, you have to be very good with logistics. What do you mean by that? What is logistic? Like in the military, there is a division called logistics. 后勤. Okay, but in real life, what is logistics? 筹备，还有呢？调度啊。But so basically, the wedding planner will say, you do this, you just know what time, like the bride's father. Where is the bride's mother? Where is the groom? The groom ran away. Okay, so preventing the groom from running away. Make sure you have guards around the place so that the groom will not run away. So that we call logistic. Okay, so very important hub. What do you mean by hub? Hub is very idea. Hub 轴心. Hub is in air transport. Hub. Like in Asia, where is the hub? Singapore is a hub, but I think Bangkok. Oh, Bangkok is crazy. Every flight will go to Bangkok, right? Hong Kong is a hub. And Taiwan? No. I thought we were supposed to be the hub of the Asia Pacific Operations Center. 有没有听过一个叫亚太营运中心？if we have this Taiwan as a hub, at that time, we will be able to become a hub for all these Chinese travelers going to the United States, going to Australia, going to Indonesia. Example, right now, you have people from Shanghai. Of course, they fly directly to West Coast of the United States. Right? They fly directly to Sydney, Australia. But what about 汕头, 汕头? What about 厦门? 厦门 is getting big right now. 厦门 has direct flight to Kuala Lumpur. 到吉隆坡有直飞道. But before they build all those airports in the past 10 years, Taiwan can be a hub. Why? There are a lot of Fuzhou people in the United States, right? If they all fly from the West Coast, from East Coast, most of the flight arrive in Taiwan, what time? All the flight arrive in Taiwan from America. Early in the morning, like 6 o'clock, right? So they arrive here, they change into a smaller plane, and then boom, they go to Nanchang, they go to Fuzhou, they go to Wenzhou. We can be a good hub for all the southeast coast of China, smaller city. But we didn't do that. And I don't know about Fuzhou right now. They might be able to fly directly to West Coast now. Okay? So we missed that opportunity. The hub, the idea, I don't have a good map. Oh, this one, Africa right now. The hub is called Johannesburg. 约翰尼斯堡, 约堡. So what do I do when I went to Africa? I went to Johannesburg, and then I fly up to Malawi, and I come back to Johannesburg, and then I fly up to Congo, because that's the hub. okay, in Southern Africa. East Africa is in Kenya's Nairobi. Okay. And in West Africa, where is the hub? The hub is in Paris. So you go from Chad to Mali? No, there's no flight. You go here. Okay. So that's what we call hub. Okay. So Turkey is a very important logistic hub. This is where you go and then you go again. Okay. For U.S. forces go into and then out of Iraq. Okay. So here we have Iraq. American forces come back here and then go to the U.S. and then come here. So Turkish, important logistic location as well. And then they also downgrade its role, saying we're not going to help you in Afghanistan. And Obama needs everyone in Afghanistan because he said that's a good war. That's a just war he needs to fight. But Turkey can pull out any time. 林玉、杨敏文、林毅，对不起。Oh, I'm sorry. Not very good.
The House's action would also make it even more difficult to convince the Turks, who hold a non-permanent UN Security Council seat, to support a new round of
Sanctions.
on Iran. Given important economic issues, in particular the large amount of natural gas that Turkey imports from Iran, getting Ankara on board for punitive actions against Tehran was already going to be a challenge. But an Armenian
Genocide.
resolution would make it nearly impossible. The Foreign Affairs Committee's decision will also do much to further impair the image of the United States in Turkey. Unlike many countries around the globe, Turkey has not experienced a positive Obama effect.
Okay, make it even more difficult to convince the Turk non-permanent seat in the Security Council. So, first of all, who have the permanent seats in the Security Council? Ms. Lin? There are 5 big powers. America, China, France, and Russia. Okay, those 5. And remember, we used to have it. Okay. From 1945 until 1971. Okay. Which is unreasonable, I think. We're a pretty small country compared to those. But how many seats do we have in terms of non-permanent? We have 5 permanent, and how many non-permanent? 10 of them. Okay. They are distributed according to the region. Okay. So, for example, Latin America we have 2, and then Africa we have 3, Asia 3. So and then Europe and none other area will have 2. So these are the Turkey. Every time they serve 2 years term, but it is in the Security Council, and you want vote against sanction on Iran. What's wrong with Iran? Why do you have to have sanction? You understand sanction, 制裁. Yeah, but sanction for what? For women wearing the veil? Iran? Nuclear weapons? No, okay. For their efforts to develop nuclear weapons, they are trying to develop nuclear weapons, but also their election is a problem. Okay? Not very good election. I don't think we call free election fair. It's not fair. So they want to get Turkey or Ankara on board. Always remember, you want to use a country's capital as well, so that you don't repeat it, say the country all the time. So, for example, if we talk about China, it would be boring to say China. So sometimes you will say Beijing, you will say Chinese authority, you will say, the communist leadership. So just use different words. So here they use Ankara on board. What do you mean by on board? Are you with me? Are you on board? 上了船什么意思？就是 Are you joining me on this one? Okay. So for punitive means punishing action against Tehran. Against Tehran is what? Your virtue is as black as an orchid. 德黑蓝 Right? Where is Tehran? The capital of Iran. Okay. Remember, it just, they rhyme. 他们押韵的，你看 Tehran, Iran. That's how you remember. So, but a genocide resolution make it nearly impossible. So, with such an important position Turkey is playing, so why are the American Foreign Affairs Committee of the House pick this time to pass the resolution? And also impair the image of the United States in Turkey. Already they said, well, what do you mean by a positive Obama effect? Okay, which place, let me ask you this, Ms. Lin, outside the United States, so crazy about Obama being elected? We call Obamania. 疯 Obama. 疯嘛 疯 Where? Taiwan? Taiwan, I'm the only one, crazy about him. Europe? Yeah, Europe is good. Japan. Why Japan?
Because one of the village called Obama in Japanese.
What's the word?
I do not know about
Oh, yeah, you have to know Obama. Obama in Japan. What is Obama in Japan? They don't call Obama. They call Obama. Obama. O can be 大或小 right? 小兵 Obama. So Japanese, but only that city, I think. Very crazy. Right? Indonesia, of course, Obama grew up there. And of course, Kenya, Africa. Africa is crazy. Africa, wherever I went, they have all kinds of souvenir of Obama. The taxi driver put an Obama, father there. So, but Turkey doesn't have this very positive Obama effect. Even though Obama did go to Turkey, okay, but it's not as crazy. So, unlike many other countries in the globe, Turkey is not that crazy about Obama. Okay, 杨嘉欣也在吗？陈云清 Okay. Initialing. Yerevan. Occupation of the Nagorno-Karabakh in Azerbaijan. Ratification. Macroeconomic. Economy. Okay, here, a breakthrough last summer. Okay, I think they signed it October 10. Is October 10 summer? I think it's fall, but they said October. Okay, last summer. Protocol. Remember that word protocol? Protocol means 礼宾司, or basically, some of the rituals you have to go through for normalization of relations. They want to reestablish their relation. Yerevan, of course, is the capital of Armenia. But Ms. Yang, what do you mean by nationalist politics? Nationalist. For example, I remember during the Taiwan Strait crisis, I remember some of the PLA general in China. People asking them about Taiwan's President Li's visit to Cornell or direct election of the president. This PLA general just sitting there saying, 该打打打. Huh? Okay, so that's pretty nationalist. 什么意思？民族主义的 okay? Like how can we allow Taiwan to be separate? The same thing on both sides. Like how can you normalize relation with Turkey, which killed so many people and Armenian and have not apologized? 你们是什么？这叫什么？麦雅啊，麦雅亚美尼亚啊 ，OK， 麦雅。And then the Turkish people said, why do we have to do this? Armenian terrorists, remember, killed Turkish diplomats in the United States. So having normalization is 卖土. Okay, so that's what we call nationalist politics. And Armenian occupation of Fedi. Where is that Fedi? In Azerbaijan, somewhere here, right? Inside Azerbaijan, you have this Nagorno-Karabakh. So, and then Azerbaijan is a good friend of Turkey. Azerbaijan said, hey, if you normalize the relation with Armenia, do you care about we having a Armenian occupation inside us? Do you have to do something about this? Are going to help us to reclaim this area back. So they also, Azerbaijan will impede the ratification. What do we mean by ratification? To ratify. People said if we sign ECFA with China, that need to be ratified by our parliament. What do you mean by ratify? 批准. Okay, so we need to have that in Taiwan. Turkey is likely to put ties with Armenia in a deep freeze. What do you mean by freeze? Freeze. Don't move. Freeze. And that's an important word because a Japanese lost his life during a Thanksgiving trick-or-treat, right? You know Thanksgiving trick-or-treat. A Japanese student went to the American house saying trick-or-treat. He was trying to go in there and someone said, freeze. The Asian said, what is freeze? He continued to go and then poof, shoot. He got shot, right? So the American next time, please say, stop. Okay, we will stop, right? Freeze, how do we know what is freeze? Freeze, oh, I'm freeze, cold. Okay, right? So what do we mean by freeze here? 冻结. Okay, so means stop, not going anywhere. Freeze, usually people talk about like in a bad economy, salary freeze. 不会调薪了, freeze. Or you are not going to hire new workers. Okay, hiring freeze. Okay, means you're not going to. So deep freeze means stop there. Should the House move forward with a genocide? resolution. So that's not going to be good for the two countries, because why? It's between Turkey and Armenia. The United States should not take the position. Unfortunately, because the new round of tension is likely to resolve, but also because Armenia has posted strong macroeconomic growth rate in the last 5 years. Armenia economy is doing pretty good, and now they can go into Turkey. Assets of Turkey's economy, it will help. But then if you have a freeze, means it will hurt Armenia's economy as well. So why is America doing that? Why, why does the United States want to do this? We don't know. Okay, but let's take a break here. Orthodoxies. Okay. Turkey being portrayed, being described as insular. What do you mean by insular? 隔离. Okay, it's almost like, I don't think Turkey is insular. We should have, which country will be more insular? What will be the good example of being an insular country? Taiwan, because we always being accused saying Taiwan 一天到晚在锁国嘛, right? But no, not Taiwan. What other countries? North Korea, right? North Korea is considered to be insular. What else? Myanmar, Burma. That's an insular as well, right? Insular, it means you cut off your relation with the outside world. I don't think that's the case, because Turkey also very much want to join where? EU, European Union. So, okay, nationalist, that's true. But the reality is more complex. I think that's one. But what do we mean by nuances? Means it's more sophisticated than you. It is. There is a lot of twists. It cannot be easily explained. Okay. So, for example, in Taiwan, if we said the North is pro-blue, the South is pro-green, that would be too simplistic kind of, description. So you say it's more nuanced. It means there are more to this. There are a lot of things beyond the appearance. We call nuance. And Turkey become more modern and democratic. Challenge the orthodoxy. What do you mean by orthodoxy? Well, not just orthodoxy as, but orthodox if it's a capital O, big O, that will be 东正教. But small O will be what?正统, 传统. Okay. So, for example, now, if someone is challenging Communist Party in China, orthodoxy of communists, what would be some of the things they would do? No. What's the thing that they have to challenge in China? But the human right is not orthodox in China. What would be an orthodoxy in China? Something that the communists hold very dear to. You said, no, that's wrong. Taoism. Maoism. Yeah, but I think Maoism is kind of like, what about this supremacy of the Communist Party? 这个共产党专政. You said, that's wrong. Oh, no, that's taboo. That's no. You should never say that. So, orthodoxy means something that is very much a tradition, very much the part of the teaching of the society. We call orthodoxy. Yes, the big O is that religion. Okay, and remember, Turkey is not orthodox. Which country is orthodox? Russia. Russia is orthodox. Greece is orthodox, right? Romania, Bulgaria. So 蔡伟林. Where are you? Where? Okay, you have to raise your hand. Okay. To come to terms. Perennial. Neuralgia. Backlash. Inchoate. Okay, now first one, here you have journalists and academic in Turkey question about the official narrative. What do you mean by narrative? Narrative, sometimes it's telling the story. Okay, so official narrative means official version. 他们的版本，说故事的。Okay, of the event, and try to come to term. Come to term, very important words. Come to term. For example, your professor have come to term that I will never be able to dunk a basketball. I recognize that now. I know that. 就是我已经认知到我永远不可能灌篮. Okay, I had that dream before, right? I continue to have the dreams. I told some of the students before, I dream of dunking right in front of Michael Jordan. In my dream, I was dunking. Okay, but I have come to term means I recognize the reality. Okay, so come to term. Okay, or for example, if someone lost their loved ones, they still do not want to admit that this dear person is gone. So finally, you have to come to term. So that's also a one. Or after the financial crisis, someone lost their jobs. They still think they have the job. They still carry their suitcase and then walk into a park. And so not come to terms. Come to terms means accept the fact. Okay. So here. Come to terms with Armenian question, saying, yes, we did something wrong. Okay, don't deny it. And this individual has come to recognize perennial. What do you mean by perennial? Perennial is someone who always there. For example, we will say in Taipei, there is a gentleman, a retired teacher from Jianguo High School. He always ran for election. If there is a 立法委员选举, he's going to run. If there is a 市议员选举, he's going to run. We call it the perennial candidate. What does that mean? Forever. Perennial means forever. But usually talk about it's there for a long time. Perennial neuralgia. What do you mean by that, neuralgia? Headache. Okay, so it's like always there to hit you, to remind you have problem of Armenian. It's not good for the society. Perennial headache. It's just there. Okay, what would be a perennial? Like In the past 10 years, which NBA team always is the perennial contenders? Which team? NBA in the past 10 years? I think was San Antonio Spurs. Right? Don't you agree? And what would be the baseball team? Yankee? No, Yankee disappeared for a while. Just coming back, right? So perennial contenders. Like recently in America, we have we call the college basketball team fighting, and a perennial contender would be like Duke, Michigan State, Kansas. But Kansas just lost. So good. So here, what we call perennial is always there. So the headache is always there. Not good for the Turkey. Foreign relations because people, and also for domestic politics, like people cannot sleep because they're always being accused, right? Important to underscore. What do you mean by underscore? Underscore 就是不。有人养电子鸡吗？电子鸡的声音不是这样的啊。Okay. Underscore means like emphasize, writing down something. Underscore. Okay. This opening has been modest. What do you mean by modest? Modest? Not just shy. Modest is like if you got into Tsinghua University, you must be the top student in your class. No, I'm just in the back. That would be modest, but that's so hypocritic, right? Modest, 谦虚啊. So, but modest here it means very, not very significant. So opening being modest means just a little, okay, of opening right now between Turkey and Armenia. And it's vulnerable. What do you mean by vulnerable? Again, easily hurt by political shocks. Okay. In Taiwan, recently, do we have any political shock? No, I don't think we have anything that is shock. What was the last major shock to you in the world? Michael Jackson died? Maybe. Tiger Woods. Oh, that's a shock, right? That's real. That's earthquake, also shock, right? But in terms of political shock, political shock is like, Clinton is a womanizer. Everybody knew that. That's not a shock. Okay. The nationalist backlash. Okay, so here, Ms. Tsai, what is backlash? Backlash. Okay, I'll give you one example. Our former Minister of Justice said, I cannot kill. I cannot order the death, to carry out the execution of, people on death row. And then a lot of people said, killing is wrong. And then suddenly all the members, family members of the victims said, how can you say that? You only care about the perpetrator, not the victim. So that's a backlash from that side of society against those so-called humanitarian people. They hit back. Backlash, 反击. Okay, so nationalist backlash is likely to come with congressional recognition. Well, just a little opening is trying to improve relations, and then suddenly Americans say, hey, you butchers. The Turkey said, okay, forget about that, right? So recognition of genocide. Shut down the inchoate means just beginning, okay? The dialogue, they just started, okay? For example, if we decided that we are going to have a talk, Ms. Tsai. What kind of talk are we going to have? A dialogue with China. What kind of dialogue are we having with China right now? About what? About ECFA. Have you heard of ECFA? What is ECFA? Okay. ECFA means you're going to become prosperous. ECFA? You're going to become rich. Okay. So we're talking this with China. And if suddenly we decide that we are not going to talk to China, so what do? We just say, oh, China, you just get rid of the Song of the Valley. Google. Okay, so you tyrants, you. Okay, that probably shut down, okay, that dialogue right now. Right? You pigs, huh? Or you, the son of beach. 海边的阳，太阳. Okay, so that will shut down, okay, the dialogue. Indefinitely means delaying Turkey's own effort to come to grip, means, hey, to face the reality of 1915. So why would Americans do something so stupid? We don't know. Okay, here, this is the British. They are very humorous here. 谢宗略是涛，对了，好，Okay. Past imperfect present tense. What is this past imperfect and present tense? Hey, have you studied English grammar? Past perfect is what? 过去完成式 present tense. 现在式. But what does that mean here? Past imperfect. I'm sorry, I have something to hide in my past. Imperfect. I'm not perfect in my past. So everybody has something to hide, right? Present. Now, tense. Relation is very kind of tense. So that's a good writing. Past imperfect. Present tense. Okay, started. Congress.
Congress reconsiders America's official position on the Armenian genocide. Two questions asked an American congressional panel on Thursday, March
5th.
As it considered the mass killing of Armenians after the First World War by forces of the Ottoman Empire. First was the genocide,
the historical debate.
Historical debate is a start and unsettled as ever. Armenians continue to insist that it was the first genocide of the 20th century, where Turks called it merely part of the chaos of the break-up of empire.
Okay, first one, past imperfect present tense. Also, this is what we call 胖啊，这叫什么？中文叫什么？双关语啊，胖 like past imperfect present tense. Maybe apply also to Frank Xie right now. 谢长廷说 in the past he might be a spy for the KMT. So past, imperfect. And present, are you going to run for some? No, I'm not going to say anything now. Okay, present now is very tense. So past imperfect, present tense. Okay. Congress reconsider America's official position on the genocide. 2 questions. Panel. You understand panel? Like a group of people, right? Always in a conference, you say, oh, the next panel, the next group, next session, people, congressional panel, little group. 2 things they need to consider, right? First one is, was it genocide? Okay. This historical debate is hot. Now, what's the difference between historical and historic? Historical, like about Armenian genocide in history, part of history, historical event. Now, yesterday, the passage of the health care bill in the United States is historic. What does that mean?
Something that happened, like, it's not something that happened every
Like,
day
wow!
in life.
You know, just wow! Okay? Like Tiger Woods, wow! Right? I think it is.
The Tiger Woods things, it's
Yeah.
something that happened every day, so...
No. Can handle so many people at the same time? That's historic. Right? Okay. I think people can, maybe in their, over years they have this. But Tiger Woods at the same time, that demands some very genius. A genius person can make sure they're not calling the wrong name and, so. But you understand historic means, a historic event like passage of the health care bill, I think in Taiwan, the 2000 election, the first alternation of party in power, historic. But it is also historical now, part of history. So debate is as hot and unsettled. Okay, unsettled means not being solved. As ever, Armenian continue to insist it was the first genocide. Okay, Turkish said, during that time, it just so messy at the time. The country was in a chaos. We didn't know what happened. Maybe some individual did something crazy, but it's not. Remember, systematic. That's the word. Systematic killing. Okay. Liu Yu Rui.
But the second question on the mind of Congressman in the Foreign Affairs Committee of the House of Representatives was more urgent. What is more important, fidelity to history or concern for the present? The vote took place as warming relations between Turkey and Armenia have cooled again, and those between Turkey and America are under increasing strain over Iran, Israel, and other affairs in the region. Turkish diplomats and politicians gave warning before the vote that the consequences could be felt across a range of issues of shared concern to the two countries. In the end, the panel narrowly decided against the pragmatism and chose to get straight the historical records. A resolution recognizing the killings as genocide was sent to the House by a vote of 23 to 22.
Okay, I apologize. It's not 22 to 21. Okay, it's 23 to 22. But first, let me ask you this: why the recognizing need to be under a red line? Yeah, there's a red line here. It means you spell wrong. This is American imperialism. This is the British spelling, right? British like to spell S instead of Z. And the American would say, that's wrong spelling. Okay. America also said the British spell something wrong, like labor. Labor. Ooh, underline. Should be Labor. So you have two kinds of spelling. So should we do that in Chinese? All the simplified character, we just underline. 把中国的大陆的简体字，我们全部底下都有红线。Okay, so but coming back to the second question. Okay, the second question is on the minds of important. Which one is more important? Fidelity. What do you mean by fidelity? There is a company called Fidelity, but it's a very important word. If you get married, what is fidelity? You have to be loyal to your wife. 忠诚度. Okay. So, fidelity to history means I have to be true to history, or are you going to be concerned for the present? So, American at the end choose the latter, right? Against pragmatism means, yeah, we know Turkey is important, but we have to face history. And the history says, Turkey, you committed genocide, and that's what we felt. I love this kind of like cool again. They were improve, warm, and then cool again. It's almost like you are reheating your lunchbox in a microwave. Suddenly you cool again. And increasing strength. Look, Turkey, they have Iran is an issue, Israel is an issue, and other country affairs in the region. They said, hey, it's going to hurt the country. But the panel decided against pragmatism. What do you mean by pragmatism? Mr. Liu, pragmatism. Pragmatic? People always say Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping is a pragmatist. Yeah, I mean, it's more realistic. It's not like your, so-called professor living in an ivory tower. Or the Jiao Tong University student, house bound. 宅男. Okay, so that's what we call pragmatists, knowing what's happening, right? But they want to set straight the historical record. I study history for my master's degree. I can tell you one thing. There is no possibility to set history straight. History is interpreted from different people. You will have a different result. Okay? So do not trust that. Okay, next one. Xu Tongli. Yeah.
When the same House committee passed a genocide resolution in 2007, the White House urged that the bill be scrapped. But this year, it come with a twist. Barack Obama had promised during his election campaign to recognize the events as genocide. But before the vote, his advisor said that while he acknowledges the genocide personally, he urged unsuccessfully that official interpretation be left to the parties involved. Congress is far more sensitive to lobbying than the president and to small but highly motivated groups of voters. Lobbyists work for both Armenians and Turks have been active before the vote, and Armenians are concentrated in several California districts.
Okay, so here, the House committee passed a genocide resolution in 2007, also before in 2005, but the whole House voted like scrap. The White House said, "Hey, be scrapped." What do you mean by scrap? Just throw away that. But this time, a twist. What do you mean by a twist? Something added. Here, like a twist. For example, what will be a twist here? Let's say Obama's health care. The twist is, hey, Senate, United States Senate. Last year, 60 Democratic seats. This year, 59. So you added a new twist. Okay. So, but here, Obama promised during the election, say, I recognize this as a genocide. But he said, this one to be left, the interpretation be left between the parties, to the parties involved, that's Turkey and Armenia. United States should not be involved. But Congress is more sensitive to lobbying. What does that mean? Congress, sitting there receiving groups, lobbying groups. And lobbying groups will tell the congressman, say, you need to support this resolution, otherwise we're not going to give you money. What? No, we don't call give you money. We call political contribution. 政治现金, right? So you need that. Okay, that's one. Also, you're not going to get our vote next time. We're going to send out mails or text message to all the Armenian, right, and their friends in the district. Don't vote for Congressman so and so. So that's putting pressure. And when you have Armenian concentrated in several Californian districts, that become important. For example, Chinese in Nebraska protesting against certain things, the congressman would say, hey, you represent 0.5 population of my district. I don't care, right? But if it's in California, people care. If it's in Houston, people care. When you have a concentration of population. So Armenian and Turkish are doing that. They are also Turkish immigrants. Turkish will also lobby the Congress. Obviously, Turkish lost, right? So 23 to 22. It's almost like, let's say, we are crazy enough, right? We are going to the United States. The Chinese are fighting the Korean over what nationality Confucius really belonged to. Okay, so asking America Congress to pass a resolution acknowledging Confucius is from China, right? Then the Koreans said, if you said that, we're not going to vote for you next time. So almost like that. Okay, so Armenia, but they are recognizing a tragedy here. I'm not sure. Are we going to do that in the U.S. Congress, saying Confucius is a Chinese? I mean, it doesn't care. We are Taiwanese. Who cares? Right? Okay, next one, Wang Dazhong.
But no national or foreign policy, among whom the president is by far the most important, can ignore the strategic importance of Turkey. It is a vital American ally and has the second biggest army in NATO.
NATO, we just say NATO.
The country is home to an important American air base and is a crucial supply route for America's force in Iraq. Relations were difficult even before the beginning of the war in Iraq in 2003. The Middle Islamist government denied the Americans the ability to open a second front in Iraq through Turkey. Turkey's relationship with Israel has
deteriorated
too. Israel's two recent wars in Lebanon and Gaza has outraged
half. I think it's half, right? Half, not has.
have outraged the Turkish public opinion. Mr. Obama's more even-handed approach to Israel-Palestine conflict has improved America's reputation in Turkey, but not by much.
Okay, here, fashioner. What do you mean by fashioner of foreign policy? Fashion, you understand fashion. 流行, but fashioner means designer of foreign policy. 制定, 这个目前的, among whom the president is by far the most important. Of course, president, Congress, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. President is first not as sensitive to lobbying like congressman. Secondly, he is the most important person in dealing with the foreign policy, and he cannot ignore the strategic importance of Turkey. And Turkey is an important American ally, second biggest army in NATO. So who has the biggest army in NATO? U.S. Okay, but you have to think, after U.S., what other members are in NATO? Oh, Germany, France, Great Britain, Canada. They all have a smaller army than Turkey. Now, think of this. Do you really want Turkey to be in European Union? If they join the European Union, they will have the largest army in the European Union. That's one. Secondly, in a few years, they will have the biggest population in the European Union. Now they are maybe a little bit smaller than Germany. But you know that Germany, they don't like to produce kids, right? And the Turkey will, have more kids, so they will become the largest. That's the reason Europeans do not want Turkey to be in Europe. Also, it is an Islamic country, and you don't have a single Islamic country in Europe. Okay, you have some Islamic population, but not Islamic country. Supply route to American forces in Iraq, and difficult in 2003 because Turkey always suspected Americans' intention in Iraq. Okay, worry about America is trying to in Iraq to do what? Mr. Wang, American in Iraq, they occupied Iraq for a while, and they came up with a solution one time by this current vice president. Who is American's vice president? No, Cheney, I think he's gone. Cheney is the vice president of Bush. Who is the new vice president? Called Joseph Biden. Okay, Joseph Biden one time suggested Iraq is so complicated it can be divided into 3 countries. So, what's 3 countries? Yeah, Kurdish people as one, Sunni and Shiites, 逊尼派, 什叶派. Okay, now if Kurdish became independent as a country, don't you think Kurdish people inside Turkey will say, why don't we unite it with our motherland? Then Turkey will be in trouble. So Turkey doesn't like the idea of Americans in Iraq. And mildly Islamic government. What does that mean, mild? What would be the opposite of the mild Islamic government? What kind of description we're going to use? Extremist or radical? We always say radical, right? Radical Islamic countries like Iran, people would say. But here they deny that the American had the ability to open a second front in Iraq through Turkey. What do you mean by second front? 第二战场. Okay, now give me an example of 第二战场 in Europe during World War II. Do you know?
East Front.
They want to open the second front in Russia or in the in North. So they cut the Germany. The second front in China will be somewhere in Miandian, in Yunnan. Okay, so opening up a new front. Turkey said, no, you cannot do that. You're already coming from, Iraq is here. America started from here, right? Saudi Arabia, and then attack here. Turkey said, no, don't do that here. We don't want you to do it. From Turkey. So that's the second front. And also, relationship with Israel deteriorated. If Turkey cannot get along with Israel, Israel has problem. Right? Israel is not going to get along with Iran. Israel is not going to get along with Syria. Israel is not going to get along with Iraq. Israel will have some trouble also with the Middle Eastern, the North African country as well. So Turkey is the mild Islamic country, but upset with Israel because of war in Lebanon. You understand Lebanon, north of Israel. But Gaza, where is Gaza? Gaza Strip. Yeah, but where is it? Do we have a map here that might tell you? Oh, very close. Not here. Israel, this is Lebanon here, right? This is Lebanon, this area. And Gaza is very close to Egypt. Okay? And Gaza is occupied by a different PLO group, Palestinian group, okay, called Hamas. Hamas, right? The West Bank is occupied by Fatah, F-A-T-A-H. So two different groups. But anyway, Turkey is not happy with that, with Israel's in Lebanon, war in Lebanon and in Gaza. So Obama may be balanced, but improve a little bit, but not much. Okay. 胡荣华有在吗？简英哲、苏兴赫 Okay. Turkey itself. Alleged. Okay, so Turkey itself having a problem because between that, the force that make the Armenian issue potentially dangerous because why? Secular. You understand secular? Remember that word very important in Turkey from Kemal, Kaimor. Secularism means no clergies in politics, no religion in politics. Western-oriented politicians, they say, oh, you're so pro-West. How come Turkey is still not a member of European Union? Right? Turkish people, have you seen Turkish people wearing the Middle Eastern suit? No, they wear Western suit. Okay? They are very Western European, but they are still prevented from joining the European Union. So they said, why don't we have some realignment? Maybe we should think about our relation with our immediate neighbors, like Iran, maybe like Iraq or the Transcaucasus. So Turkey has a realignment of foreign policy. And cozying. What do you mean by cozy? If you've been to some of the cafe place with your girlfriend, you say, hey, that place is pretty cozy. Comfortable, intimate. So it means you are having a closer relation with Iran. Hey, nobody wants you. NATO, you belong to NATO, how can you have that? But they said, hey, Iran is our friend, in the region, so we have to deal with that. So alleged effort, what do you mean by alleged? Alleged, almost like people claim you have to do something. Alleged. Okay? People claim you have done something. Alleged. So here, Turkey started to apply for EU membership. How long ago? 20 years ago. Still knocking on the door, And people said, wait. But there are people who were behind me in line, but they already got in. Please wait. Just wait patiently. Last time, 2005, for example, who joined the European Union? A little island here called Malta. Okay, part of the European Union. Okay, that's not embarrassing. But what about Cyprus? So close to Turkey. Half of the population Turkey, and Turkey occupied the north, and the south are the Greeks. And then the south, the Greek occupied, the Greek not occupied, the Greek part of the Cyprus today is a member of the European Union. That's embarrassment to Turkey, don't you think? And then Romania and Bulgaria, two communist countries before, in 2007 they joined European Union. So maybe Turkey should think, we don't belong there. Huh? Half face. Attaching to a cold butt. Huh? So Turkey maybe think, hey, at least here we are very important, right? In this region, in the Transcaucasus, in the Middle East. Okay, next one, Li Yuxuan. Yeah.
The vote comes at a sensitive time too. For Turkey's relations with Armenia, the pair have been at odds since Turkey closed the border in 1993. During Armenia's war with Turkey's
Ethnic cousins
in Azerbaijan.
Azerbaijan.
Last year, protocols were agreed that foresaw an
Establishment
of diplomatic relations and an opening of the border. But Armenia's highest court had declared that the protocols were in line with Armenia's constitutionally mandated policy that foreign affairs conform to the Armenian view of the genocide. Turkey responded with fury, and the protocols were endangered. The Armenian vote will anger Turkey further, and perhaps make it even more inclined to turn away from Europe, America, and Armenia in favor of its
Islamic neighbors. So the vote sensitive because you have a relations being developed which were at odds before during the war. Armenia, remember, occupied that enclave of Azerbaijan, and Turkish people say that's our brother, ethnic cousin. Now, do we have any ethnic cousin? Yes, we do. We have them right now in the Pacific Island. Kiribati, Nauru, Tuvalu, Palau, Samoa, 我们都是南岛的嘛，文化，所以我们总统就去看我们的 cousin. Right? Our president is visiting our cousins in the Pacific Island. Do we call Japanese or Korean our cousins? No? Vietnamese? No? Filipinos? Yes? Okay, so Filipino is our cousin, but not Vietnamese. Not Korean. I think Korean, culturally, probably the closest to us. Okay. But Turkish, you have to remember, Turkish is not just Turkish. Turkish ethnic groups, go to Central Asia. Turkish is very powerful here. Also, the language, Turkish language, 突厥语. Okay, Azerbaijan, or even like Kyrgyzstan, they all speak Turkmenistan. So ethnically, linguistically, you have cousins. And Armenians are Christians, are not Islam, not Muslim. So when Armenia and Azerbaijani fought a war, Turkey closed its border, and now you have to reopen the border. But isn't it interesting? The highest court said, hey, any kind of agreement you sign, protocol, have to be in line with Armenia's constitutional mandate. Means it's in the constitution. Constitution said every foreign affair had to conform with Armenians' view of the genocide. Oh, Armenia just cannot come to terms with this. Like when you recognize China, what do you do today? Like you establish diplomatic relation with China. China will say, when you recognize China, you recognize Taiwan as part of China, right? When you recognize Armenia, you recognize Armenian suffered 1915 genocide, part of the foreign affair. We accuse China of being crazy, right? Every time a country wants to establish a relation with China, China will say there's only one China, and Taiwan is part of China. Okay, and so there's not, okay, only one Armenia. We know that, but if you recognize Armenia, you also have to recognize Turkish, committed genocide against Armenia in 1915. That's interestingly. So it would be very difficult. So maybe Turkey would say, hey, maybe we should turn to our Islamic brothers, neighbors in the Middle East. Okay, let's finish.